Well, yesterday I heard on the news that Bernie Saunders has announced his candidacy for the President of the United States in 2020. That got me to thinking, that got me to do a little bit of extra research, and you are going to be surprised at what I found. So stick around. Well, I found a website called ballotpedia.org that, according to their data that they get from the Federal Election Commission, that there are currently, as of February 20th, or February 18th, I think, today's the 20th, as of February 18th, there were 537 declared candidates that have filed with the Federal Election Commission. 184 Democrats, 69 Republicans, 19 Libertarians, 14 Green Party candidates, and 251 other or unaffiliated candidates. Altogether, 537. Now, I don't have a whole lot of historical data with respect to this number, but I'll tell you what, 537 sure sounds like it's going to be a big, big mess. Now, some of these folks really aren't viable candidates, certainly at all, but if you start doing the research and you can find out those that have a potential and those that have the potential and have already filed, you've got Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Amy Klobuchar, Julian Castro, Andrew Yang, Tulsi Gabbard, and Marianne Williamson. Now, those are the folks that are considered somewhat viable all the way up to, they could probably pull it off in that respect. Then there are all the folks that wish that they were candidates for president, that have been, their names have been floated here and there. There's been a little bit of push from different angles here and there, but let me kind of go down through that. These are non-declared potential candidates. Sherrod Brown, Senator from Connecticut. Representative Beto O'Rourke from Texas. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand from New York. Former Governor John Hickenlooper from Colorado. Pete Buttigieg from Indiana, the mayor, former mayor, I believe, of South Bend. Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington. Steve Bullock, the governor of Montana. Eric Holder, former attorney general, a Democrat from New York. Former mayor of New York City, Mike Bloomberg, a Democrat from New York. Representative Eric Swalwell, a Democrat from California. Senator Jeff Merkley, a Democrat from Oregon. Former Governor Terry McAuliffe, a Democrat from Virginia. Former Secretary of State John Kerry, Democrat from Massachusetts. Senator Michael Bennet, a Democrat from Colorado. Representative Tim Ryan, a Democrat from Ohio. Representative Seth Moulton, Democrat from Massachusetts, and to round out the field, at least the top 25, former Representative John Delaney, Democrat from Maryland. On the Republican side, you've got two. Former Governor Bill Weld, Republican from Massachusetts, and President Donald Trump, obviously, Republican from New York. Now, If you've spent any time watching the news over the last few weeks, and you've seen what the folks that are currently declared, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Joe Biden, those folks, and what they're saying about the United States, what they're saying about our current president, what their platforms are, and honestly, it's all redistribution of wealth via socialism. I don't care what you want to call it. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's going to work. In fact, it's never been proven to work anywhere it's been tried. I did a video about what happened at the original settlers here in the United States. I'll put a link to that either up above or down below so that you can take a look at the history of an experiment in socialism right here in the United States. It doesn't work. Yeah, you can cite different places like Cuba, you can cite Venezuela, you can cite North Korea, you can cite China, you can cite Russia, those satellite countries around Russia that were all socialist and communist. It just doesn't work. It doesn't lift people up. It doesn't give them an opportunity to succeed based on their own merits. Yes, I do believe that the government has a duty to provide for the welfare of the citizenry, but I don't think it requires, the Constitution requires us as American citizens to provide cradle-to-grave socialistic transfer of wealth payments to everybody that wants it, anybody that's unwilling to work, willing to work, doesn't matter. They're talking about universal basic income. Some of the platforms and some of these candidates here, they are calling for a minimum of $500 per person per month, universal income, universal basic income, $500 to $1,000 a month. Well, yeah, it'd be nice, but where's that money going to come from? Well, it's going to come from people that work for a living, that pay taxes, that have wealth, that provide opportunity, that take risks in business, and I don't see that happening in any kind of socialist economy that I've ever looked at, studied, or heard about. So I am extremely fearful. I am taking additional steps right now to make sure that in a few short months, when we really get into the heat of the election cycle, that me and my family, my kids and my grandkids are well prepared from the upcoming calamity and chaos that the 2020 election is going to bring. I asked a couple of folks that I trust their opinions, who do you think is going to win the 2020 presidential election? And 2 out of 3 said Donald Trump. The other one said, I don't know, but I don't think that Donald Trump's even going to be running. But nobody was willing to stick their neck out and say, oh yeah, it's going to be a Democrat. Now, I may not hang out with hardcore Democrats, but I'm sure that there are certain favorites out there. According to certain of the websites out there that do the ranking of potential political candidates, we've got ranked number 1 at this point in time, February 2019, Kamala Harris is in first place. Bernie Sanders is a close second. Undeclared Senator Sherrod Brown from Connecticut is actually in third place. Then Joe Biden, then Beto O'Rourke, then Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Kirsten Gillibrand, Amy Klobuchar, and Julian Castro. That's the top 10. Some are declared, some have already filed, some haven't yet, But I suspect that 99% of the ones that haven't filed yet will be filing as soon as they meet all the minimum requirements and all that. But let's talk about the platform just for a second. They're talking transfer of wealth. They're talking socialist. They're talking Medicare for all. They're talking universal basic income. Those are all socialist programs that have been run up different flagpoles in different socialist economies and different socialist countries in the past, and it's never, ever worked. Oh, it sounds wonderful. Oh, it would be great. Free college for all. Oh, free tuition. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. But where's all this money going to come from? What's her name? Occasional Cortex there. She's espousing this new Green Deal thing where she wants to eliminate fossil fuels. She wants to switch over and change over every building and every furnace, every air conditioning unit so that it does not run on fossil fuels. That means no airlines, no automobiles as we know it. The coal industry would be put right out of business. And the cost is just beyond comprehension. Its applicability is beyond comprehension to me. That's why I'm redoubling my efforts right now, and I know, at least I hope and pray that I've got enough time between now and whoever is declared the winner of the 2020 presidential election. I'm concerned because Donald Trump is under the gun from just about everybody that you can think of, from the FBI to the Department of Justice, from his own cabinet, from certainly the Democrat Party, the different committees in the House and in the Senate. If he survives politically until Election Day, it'll be quite a miracle. I don't see it happening. I just don't see that he's going to pull it off. We'll see. 2020 is not all that far away. And just one more thought before I close on this video. I received an info memo from the NRA, Institute for Legislative Action, this morning. And it's happening as we speak right now. H.R. 8, House Resolution 8, and House Resolution 1112 are going to hit the floor of the House for a vote this week. H.R. 8 is basically the universal background check legislation, and honestly, it's really going to hinder folks that need a gun to protect themselves, to engage in proper self-defense. All it's going to do is slow the process down. Sorry, I just don't think it's a wonderful piece of legislation. And then there is H.R. 1112, which is a national firearm purchase delay of a minimum of 20 days, but it could actually extend a little bit longer. Arbitrary. There's no proof that anything like that would ever work to reduce mass shootings, to reduce pretty much anything. And they're both going to hit the floor today. I've taken the time to let my representative in Congress know how I feel about it, and I have urged him to stick up for his congressional oath of office, which means that he will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, which includes the Second Amendment, which says our rights to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and I believe that both of these pieces of legislation infringe on our rights to keep and bear arms. The Democrats have been in control of the House of Representatives for only just a few short weeks now, and it's only taken them that long to muster enough support to get these two bills on the floor for a vote. There's much more coming. There's a lot of activity going on at the state level. Check your individual states. Take a look at some of the different organizations that support gun rights. The Gun Owners of America, who is one of my favorites because they are very, very active and they need our support. The NRA, well, you know, we can take them or leave them, but they do help, I think, a little bit. So use your money wisely. Support the organizations that support your gun rights. So if you need a reason to be prepared, to get prepared, and be prepared always, I just listed earlier 537 reasons that we need to be very prepared for the future. This is the Prepared Suburbanite reminding you to be prepared always, and I'll see you all on the next video.